I'm 34, male, and I've spent most of my life believing that family comes first. That's what my parents drilled into my sister and me. No matter what, we were supposed to be there for each other. My sister's a few years younger than me. Growing up, she could do no wrong. She had this way of getting people to side with her, twisting things until she came out on top. When she met her husband, they were a perfect match, both entitled, both convinced the world owed them something. At first, I didn't say much. My parents adored him. He came across as successful, charming, and good for her. But it didn't take long to see that most of it was smoke and mirrors. He talked big, always working on the next big thing, but somehow it never worked out. And of course, it was never his fault. When the bills piled up, they came to me. Just until we're back on our feet, they said. And like an idiot, I helped. I covered their mortgage once, then a car payment, then some credit card debt. Every time I tried to set boundaries, my sister's voice would soften, and she'd say, "Family comes first." But the guilt trip didn't stop there. Her husband would chime in, calling me selfish. "We do the same for you," he'd say. Spoiler, they wouldn't. The last straw came when they asked for $10,000. It wasn't even a question, more like a demand. "You have it," my sister said, like that made hers by default. I hesitated, not because I didn't have the money, but because I knew I'd never see it again. That's when they both pounced. "Don't be so selfish," her husband sneered. My sister just stood there, arms crossed, waiting. And yeah, I caved. I transferred the money, feeling that awful, familiar pit in my stomach. But this time, something shifted. I told myself it was the last time. No more. A month passed. Then two. Not a word about the money. But I did hear about their new weekend getaway and the shopping spree my sister posted all over social media. Apparently, they weren't too broke for luxury. I asked for my money back, and she laughed. Actually laughed. "You know, we're good for it," she said, like that was supposed to reassure me. But I wasn't angry. Not yet. That came later. We had this family dinner. My parents tried to smooth things over. Halfway through, my sister's husband, half drunk, smirked and said, "You should be grateful. That money wasn't doing anything, just sitting there." I didn't say anything. I just left. But in that moment, something in me clicked. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to beg. I was done. And that's when the real plan started. A few days later, I heard a rumor. Apparently, my sister's husband wasn't just a financial disaster. He was a cheater, too. Small-town gossip spreads fast, and people talked. I wasn't about to act on hearsay, though, so I hired a private investigator. It didn't take long. The guy was reckless. Hotel meetups, secret dinners, and enough text to fill a novel. But here's where it gets wild. My PI found a way to twist the narrative. Because in the divorce papers, I wasn't just a witness to his infidelity. I was the affair partner. Of course, it wasn't true. I had zero involvement with his mess. But when my lawyer explained how naming me would make everything even more explosive, I couldn't resist. A cheating scandal with a fake twist? Perfect. The day the papers arrived at their door, it was like a bomb went off. Neighbors heard my sister's screams from down the street. She called me in a rage, demanding to know why I would lie like that. But I stayed calm. "Prove it's a lie," I said. And she couldn't. Her husband tried to fight it, tried to threaten me. But the evidence of his actual affairs was undeniable. When his lawyers saw the mountain of proof, they knew there was no winning. The guy folded fast, agreeing to a divorce to avoid further humiliation. But the fallout didn't stop there. Turns out his career was built on image. After the affair allegations hit, clients bailed. His little business empire crumbled practically overnight. I heard he had to sell his fancy car and move into a small apartment. And my sister? She got a settlement, but with most of their assets being debt, it wasn't much. She moved back in with my parents, tail between her legs. They're helping her out, but even they're struggling to look past everything she's done. The best part? I'm free. No more guilt. No more manipulation. I even started saving again, this time for myself. And it feels damn good. People keep asking if I feel bad. Honestly, no. They played stupid games, and they won stupid prizes. I didn't ruin their lives. They did that themselves. All I did was make sure they faced the consequences. Anyway, if you made it this far, you probably enjoy a good dose of karma. Stick around. I've got plenty more stories where that came from.